You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 1st, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Board of Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
If you'd like to come up to the front and just grab a seat. We're going to start the LaPorte County Board of Commissioners meeting Wednesday, May 1st, 2024 at 10 a.m. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Steve Hollifield, if you can start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pretty faster than Bohachi.
Can you imagine? Roll call.
Commissioner Mrzinski.
Present.
Commissioner Grammarosa.
Present.
Commissioner Haney.
Present.
Thank you.
Consider agenda.
Madam President, on the agenda, I would like to move 11C up before public comment. A lot of people here, I suppose they're here to talk about solar rather than just look at me.
And then,
We'd like to move that up and then I would approve. Oh, wait, don't we have something to add?
yeah.
We do. We have a couple of items here. We have consider special detail agreement between the Sheriff's Department and Ag Association during Fair Week, Sheriff Heeg. There's also consider a favorable recommendation for a rezone from B2 to R1B in Kankakee Township, Mr. Anthony Novak, and consider a final approval for one lot, phase 1 of US 11 300 North Northwest subdivision, Mr. Vladimir Gans.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Consider approval of April 17, 2024 minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consideration of claims.
For payroll ending April 19th, 2024, we have $1,496,891.91.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Operating expense claims.
We have $1,898,720.02.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 So now we're going to move 11C, consider discussion for moratorium on solar. So who would like to start?
Going to ask our attorney to explain the situation here.
Thank you, Commissioner Mrzinski. So as I assume everyone knows, Bluestem did apply for the permit with the BZA for the special exception use. I know there's been a lot of talk about requests for moratoriums. I was at the Planning Commission meeting where there was a request made to consider.
You have to speak
I'm sorry.
into, because a lot of folks can't hear you.
To consider a request for a moratorium that did not pass at the Planning Commission. It's my opinion that a moratorium would be considered a zoning ordinance, and that's based upon a federal case in the Southern District of
You
Indiana.
have to speak up. Can you come up to the podium? Sure. I think that one works probably a little bit better. Sorry.
Hopefully this is this better?
Yes.
Okay, great. So again, a permit, an application for a special exception permit was submitted by the solar company. Therefore, the permit has started. The application process has started. I understand a lot of people wanted to have a moratorium imposed to not permit any applications for special use permits as it relates to solar. I understand that. Under my review of the law, a moratorium would also be what we consider a zoning law or a zoning ordinance. And in that case, we have to follow the rules of adopting or amending any ordinance. which I would recommend go through the planning commission. That would be the best practice, because the solar ordinance that was passed in 2021 originated, of course, with the planning commission, and it was ultimately approved by the commissioners sitting at that time in 2021. So as of now, even if there were to be a moratorium passed in the proper measure, pursuant to the zoning ordinance change law, it would not affect this application or this application for the present permit. Now, with that said, people have to understand that any changes or issues people have with the present zoning ordinance can be addressed with the Board of Zoning Appeals. The Board of Zoning Appeals, they do have the authority to have reasonable conditions on any application for a permit. Also, we have guidelines that have to be followed if a special exception is to be granted. And so the Board of Zoning Appeals does have flexibility. So anyone that's disappointed about how this process is moving forward, it's not over yet. A lot of ideas you might have with perhaps even setbacks or glare or the depth of transmission lines or noise can be addressed at the Board of Zoning Appeals. But for any future request, if people want to consider amending the ordinance or having a moratorium, that needs to start with the Planning Commission under the rules and regulations for noticing up meetings and going through that process. Thank you.
So what this means is the commissioners really have no authority here. It's the Plan Commission for the ordinance and the BZA for the special exception.
That's my interpretation of the law. Now, technically, because I want to give you good advice, is that technically could the commissioners recommend at some point, let's say a moratorium or even an amendment to an ordinance? Yes, but it would not take effect until it went through the process of going through the Planning Commission. So that's why it's my recommendation to this board that any future changes, modifications, alterations, text amendments, or a consideration of a moratorium be developed first in the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At that point, I would make a motion that we refer this to the Plan Commission for action.
Yes, and to be specific, more specific, the Planning Commission, they have a couple options. Number one, they can do nothing. Number two, they can recommend amendments to our present solar ordinance. Three, they could recommend a moratorium for future applications to give them more time to determine appropriate amendments to the solar ordinance. But I want to be clear that any solar potential amendments to the present solar ordinance may still be able to be used with this present application as it goes through the BZA process with the authority that the BZA has. Because in my view, under the law, this special exception, it's not just regulatory. There is some discretion the Board of Zoning Appeals has.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Scott.
I have a motion.
Yes, I'll second that, and I'll follow up on what our attorney just said. The BZA does have quite a bit of leeway on what restrictions they can, or conditions, I should say, they can put on this project. So I know we've been talking with the Planning Commission about. We are going to tighten up. I believe we are going to tighten up the ordinance, and we're working on that. Our solar committee is meeting again here before the next meeting as well, for the next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting, I should say, as well, to keep that rolling. We'll pause on future development until we can put some more tighter restrictions in place, setbacks, additional performance bond, and some screening as well. But obviously, we'll have to see what the Planning Commission is. I think it's overall positive to try and make sure we get some things tightened up. So I appreciate your information this morning here, Mr. Paycheck.
Thank you. One more comment,
Please.
Or maybe I'll get back up.
Is that other microphone working better, or?
Okay. Can you hear me? No, they can't hear me.
That is weird.
Thank you. To all those that have concerns with the present solar ordinance, I strongly recommend and urge you to please provide any recommendations you have to the Secretary of the Planning Commission or the BZA. BZA, I apologize. The reason is we want the BZA to be as prepared as they can be in considering any potential amendment or conditions to the special exception application. My other warning is any recommendations you have or criticisms of the ordinance cannot be based on speculation, what you read in the comment section after doing an internet search, or what you heard from someone in California. It has to be based on actual articulable evidence that the BZA can consider. I'm not saying that to be insensitive. I'm just saying after review of the case law, even though the company requesting the permit, they have the burden of proof, no doubt about it. They have the burden of proof. But once they establish that burden of proof with substantial evidence of compliance with the special exception rules, then if you disagree with that, for example, harm to real estate values or noise issues or traffic congestion issues, you have to have articulable evidence. It can't be anecdotal. And I'm just saying this so we can have a smooth process here, because we want the process with the BZA, even though you're not in control of the BZA, Board of Commissioners, we want the process to be collaborative so people can work together to have a good result and to mitigate any potential problems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so hopefully we've given a good explanation and then we can move on.
Take a vote.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna move on to public comment.
Good morning, Steve Hollifield, 6782 East 100 South Mill Creek. The special meeting that was supposed to happen with the Plan Commission, Mr. Haney, not enough notice was given.
It wasn't published.
Okay,
It didn't get published
Are
in
we
time.
gonna have one 10 days from now then? Has it been published to have another one, or you're not gonna have one?
But it was actually waiting to see what happened here this morning to see if we call another one and make sure we can get everybody's schedules on time.
Okay.
Together. We will be having a Plan Commission meeting this month, though.
21st, yeah. I noticed there's a requisition for a generator. Earlier this year, there was a lost generator. No one remember what happened. Do we ever find that generator, or is this that $50,000-$60,000 the taxpayers pay is gone? I mean,
This is public comment and we usually don't.
so I just want to get that on record. So I hope the commission will apply pressure to the Plan Commission of BZA to get a recommendation for a moratorium. This is extremely important now that RWE has filed their application after the news of new stronger ordinance was being discussed. So I hope you guys use the exercise. You can put force on them, and just like we've been doing with our email. So thank you.
One quick question, Mr. Hollifield. Was that the one from 8th Street? Because if that was the one
I
from
believe
8th
that's
Street,
what it was, yeah.
that moved to the sheriff's garage.
Okay.
And got repurposed there. So it didn't get, yes, yeah, we moved it there.
Public comment is still open. Anyone else for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Emily McDuff. I live in Chicago and I am a professional engineer and solar developer with RWE Clean Energy. Our team submitted a permit application yesterday, as Attorney Pajek said, for the 400 megawatt Bluestem solar project. Our application exceeds LaPorte County and state requirements in areas such as vegetative screening and setbacks from residential neighbors. The project would sit on less than 1% of all agricultural land in LaPorte County and provide enough electricity annually to power more than all the households in LaPorte County. Electricity is an essential community need to power the lights, to power our lives. This project could be a great local source of electricity, especially given that 5,900 megawatts of coal plants are retiring in Indiana over the next 6 years, including Michigan City, just down the street. The Bluestem Solar Project will create hundreds of jobs for local workers. produce $100 million in new property tax benefits over its lifetime, create 2,600 acres of native pollinator habitat, and allow a dozen LaPorte families to keep their land in the family for generations to come. 4 years ago, RWE chose to develop the solar project in LaPorte County. One, because of the transmission lines that run through the project site and have available capacity for more electricity. And secondly, because LaPorte County is supportive of economic development and progress. I want to commend you, commissioners, all three of you, and LaPorte County leadership for establishing and managing regulation of solar in a way that balances private property rights as well as safeguards for LaPorte County citizens. We're really excited about this project and the many benefits that it could provide LaPorte County. Thank you for your time.
Do we have anyone else for public comment?
My name is Michelle Barlick, 4888 East, 200 South, LaPorte. I do stand against solar as a whole, industrial solar. I do that. I'm against it. I heard what the attorney said, and somewhat. It's hard to hear in here for me. I'm working on hearing aids right now, getting those, but so I can't really hear really well. So I have to rewatch this on the YouTube. But with this thing about a permit, with this RWE, I mean, if we don't have the language in the ordinance, and I know this is more for probably the Board of Zoning Appeals than yourselves, but if the language isn't there for industrial solar, like at the Plan Commission when Doug Beege said we need to do for industrial solar, an amendment, or, get it in the ordinance, it just doesn't seem that that should be allowed at this time for RWE. Just my opinion.
Thank you. Do we have anyone on Zoom for public comment? Anyone else for public comment?
Yes, my name is Steve Miller. My address is 988 North, 250 East. My daughter's a realtor. I've consulted with her about this solar field that's going on. She's concerned that it's not being presented right to the public, that there's probably thousands of people in the county that don't know about this solar farm. We've talked to people that are right across from the solar farm that were here at the last meeting. They didn't get a notification. Right across the road, a gentleman from Chicago, he didn't receive one. Dave Brzezinski, that lives right next to us, did not receive one. We don't know how many other people aren't getting this information. This is critical to, if you're going to pass something in the county that is going to affect the whole population, they need to know what's going on. They also possibly need to know that if this solar farm goes in, that the county next to us, St. Joe, is having the biggest development between South Bend and LaPorte County in its history. They just announced an Amazon plant going in there. My understanding, they got Microsoft. We know they got GM in that. Is our power going to be diverted over to them by the solar company? It's going to be the highest bidder gets the business in it. So all this stuff needs to be concerned. The thing that I have here is that my daughter is brought to my attention, and I hope you folks will present this and use this to go through the realtors of LaPorte County and have them do a survey. Don't rely on these people's survey. I had to look up to 100 pictures before I got a solar farm that was next to a house. We have houses that we're living in. It's going to be right across from this. Why isn't this on the internet showing what it's affecting in the houses? I have pictures here that I'd like to present to you folks to make sure that the public here sees what's going on. May I present these pictures to you?
You can present it to us, but again, I think that our attorney has explained to you, we're not going to make the deciding factor on this. This really needs to go to BZA, correct?
Excuse me, President Grammarosa. Can you hear me now? Is this better? No, it's never better.
Not at all.
How about Ron? Can you use
Ron is better. I went different distances, everything. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, great. These are issues to be brought up at the BZA. Anyone that wants to remonstrate to any degree available. That's a proper process. And again, this board is not being insensitive to your concerns. They've been very sensitive. We've had workshops, we've had meetings, a lot is going into this, and gladly so, because we want people to be educated and informed and understand the process. But we have a legal responsibility to follow the legal process. And the process now is in front of the BZA. And that's why I'm very hopeful, I know the board's very hopeful, that these concerns will be mitigated. I'm not going to lie to you and say everyone's going to walk away 100% happy. Rarely in life that happens. You're not going to get the whole enchilada. But if you feel like you've been heard and you feel that there has been improvements, I was very happy to hear from Ms. McDuff, I hope I have that right, that their application has exceeded the minimum requirements that's in our present solar ordinance. So I'm hoping they want to be good neighbors and want to work collaboratively with everyone and within reason to make this happen in an orderly fashion that doesn't reduce real estate values. It doesn't have too much traffic. It doesn't have too much noise. We don't want that either. And obviously when this will be constructed ultimately, there will be traffic and there will be construction things going on like building a new house or anything. But I'm sure, I know the commissioners want to make sure that it's as easy on everyone as possible and it's not injurious to your homes or your neighborhoods or your environment. So we're not there yet, but the proper procedure will be at the BZA. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Novak. I'm an attorney with Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky & Jones here in LaPorte, also local counsel for RWE. Just to clarify, we did file the application on Monday. We will be noticing adjoining landowners and publishing as required by state statute. That needs to be at least 10 days before the May 21st hearing. We will certainly do that ahead of time, but we're trying to cross-reference the approximately 170 neighbors that need to be noticed. The county building department wanted to post the application and supporting materials online. We certainly had no objection, so those materials are all available online so that no one is in the dark.
What was the date?
The BZA meeting should be May 21st, the third Tuesday of the month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Public comment. Okay. Put her on. Nancy, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you very much. Nancy, my own I'm currently the Michigan City Council liaison to the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. And first of all, I do want to commend LaPorte County for already having a solar ordinance. This was very proactive and forward-thinking on the part of LaPorte County government, so thank you for that. I do believe that the regulations that are listed in that ordinance are substantial and it's set to protect the rights of property owners. Also, I am in favor of solar panel development within the county because this is an economic driver. As the petitioner stated, it's going to provide jobs and also, more importantly, sustainability. I don't know sustainability, but the ability for generations of family farm owners to hold on to their properties with a supplemental source of income. I personally, as a farmer and a landowner of farm properties and around 120 acres, I do believe that I, as a right, would have the flexibility to determine how I would utilize my land. And I believe this is a freedom that is respected and protected by the United States government. So I wanted to make those comments. I'm sorry I've entered this whole process very late, but I hope to join up with you where somebody from the Sustainability Commission at the upcoming BZA meeting. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you.
My name is Lisa Riemenschneider. I live on Schiebel Road. I don't know what the protocol is here. I just have a question primarily and also an observation. like the gentleman who spoke before me, I'm coming to this late. I'm not a farmer, but I live here and I plan to live here a long time. And these issues of solar, you can go back to 2010 and see articles written by associations of engineers that warn people about solar farms. So I'm wondering if we're getting the whole information that we need. And I'm also a little bit surprised that I don't seem to know anything much about this, even though it feels like we're already at the edge of all these things happening. So I must have missed a memo somewhere. And my question is, even if there's been an application, carefully following all the rules and everything, is it still possible for the people of this county, is there a pathway to say no?
So we'll refer it back to the attorney because I think he touched base on it.
Thank you.
I mean, I appreciate the attorney's input, but
So, under the law, the application has been submitted. So, let's say whoever the elected officials be today or next year, let's say at some point in time, they rescinded. They totally took away the solar ordinance. This company, RWE, they could go to court, sue us, and argue that they had a vested right due to the money they've spent already.
a right to apply?
A vested right based on that we have an existing solar ordinance. And that they relied upon that ordinance to spend money in anticipation to get the project moving forward. Now, that's a legal issue. It's not up to me. It wouldn't be up to the Board of Commissioners. It'd be up to some judges ultimately in Indianapolis after appeals go through. So it's beyond our authority. So even if this whole statute was rescinded, it doesn't mean RWE just goes away.
So if they bring an application, there's still a decision to be made about the application.
Yes, but if they follow the rules and the guidelines and follow any special reasonable conditions set forth by the BZA, then they can move forward. That's the law. But they have the burden of proof, and that's going to be Mr. Novak's job to submit the burden of proof or sufficient evidence and justification of why their application complies with the rules set forth with the solar ordinance and any reasonable conditions also requested by the BZA.
Okay, so I guess my comment is, and again, this is, you have citizens who are starting to get concerned. I think you can pick up on that, right?
Yes,
This is
absolutely.
a big issue. And I'm watching what's happening in real estate, where you have companies coming in and overbidding every other private person that wants to buy a property. And I feel like this is happening in this county. And I'm sorry for people that own farms that want to have financial security. But we have to be sophisticated about the long range effects of these things and not just be lured by money coming into the county. And I think that these people in this county, for their own future, have to hold all of our officials accountable for all of the information here and what we knew when, and making it sound like we don't have anything now. It's going to go to the lawyers in the legal process in Indianapolis, where the people of LaPorte County are going to directly live with this over the long run.
Well, 2021, an ordinance was drafted and the commissioners did approve it, and there were 3 hearings in 2021.
So this is the pathway I'm talking about now that people are more aware. And again, I have the same problem with not finding out about meetings. Someone emailed me about this or texted me. I've had problems with other meetings I didn't know about till they were passed. So that's a general problem, but it still comes down to the people that live here that face the long-term outcome of all of this. And I think it's a pretty serious thing to tell us it's out of our hands.
Well, you can remonstrate at the BZA.
It's not remonstrating. I'm making a public comment about the people of this county having input at this point. What is the legal pathway?
That is an input. That is the legal pathway. That's your input, ma'am, going to the BZA.
So it's out of the people of this county's hands. We have to have lawyers and go to Indy.
No, there is a Board of Zoning Appeals where the application was submitted to, and they will have public hearings, and you can go to those public hearings and remonstrate. That's a process. I'm just saying, if there's a lawsuit over this, that's how it would end up eventually in appellate courts downstate.
So I think that the mention of a lawsuit is interesting. It almost sounds intimidating. And I think our thing is not to be afraid of a big financial issue potentially from a lawsuit, but to look at our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren's lives and the land use and the long-term consequences. Some of what's been said about green energy has turned out to be a little deceptive. And so as we learn more about this, I guess that's my question. Is there anything we can do besides remonstrate? Right.
That is a process. If you're that concerned, which you're rightfully, you can be concerned. I'm not telling you not to be concerned, but you have to go to the BZA.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a right to tell people who live here whether or not they should be concerned, right? We don't need permission, right?
That's up to you, and you need to go to the BZA. Because you have to understand, there were public meetings that were properly noticed through the Planning Commission.
And
there are 2 readings of the ordinance at the Board of the Commissioners meetings in 2021.
And I understand.
This just didn't develop out thin air yesterday. It didn't work that way. No one's alleging anything illegal was done or anyone didn't follow the proper process. No one's alleged that. No one.
And I'm not saying that either.
Okay, so go to
I'm
the
saying that
BZA.
there are people that are becoming aware of long-term concerns now, and to say, okay, something happened 3 years ago, so it's a done deal, is unsettling for the people who are going to live here.
Well, that's law. And that's what we have to follow.
You've exceeded the 3 minutes.
Thank you.
If you would just like to close up so that we can have other ones.
And for clarity, the BZA meeting will be right here in this room on the 21st.
And we also have notice on the on our website, and they're always posted. They're posted right outside our office, so we do put it out, and we do post that. So if you need help, like just managing through the website, I'll stay afterwards and I'll show you, if you have a smartphone, how to get onto it if you like. Go ahead.
Morning. Cindy Cusper, 5253 East 150 North Rolling Prairie. Our family is part of this solar project. A big piece of it, as a matter of fact. I think the thing that our goal is we are not like Amazon or Microsoft, where we're going to come in and build a huge building that stays forever. We are not building homes and track housing. We are looking at a 35-year plan that we plan to have decommissioned and return back to farmland in the future. So perhaps as the population grows and houses are encroached on, as the population grows and LaPorte grows, we have a vision of making that land go back to what it is now. But in the meantime, it helps us financially and secures us for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Muller, 988 North 250 East. I just have a question for you. We have to come into town to find out when the meetings are. Why can't you post it better? We're told it's only in the paper. We never see it in the paper, and we very seldom ever get the paper. And a lot of people don't. Is there when the meetings are and what meeting is when? And also when we're in here, we can't hear anybody. We have to go home and listen to it online. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Okay, and again, we do have a web page, and on the website we do post all our meetings. You know, perhaps we can set up a workshop with our IT, and we can have we can invite the public to come in and show how to manipulate or work through the website, so that, you know, it's something that I'll look into. And perhaps just having a workshop where we can have individuals come in and we can help you work through our website.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Haverstock, 2591 North 600 East. Our family is also part of the solar project. I wanted to remind everybody that this property's been in our family for generations. And since my husband has retired from farming, we have leased the land. But I also want you to understand that we're trying to benefit financially. The leases only pay property taxes and some insurance. There is hardly any benefit at all for us to continue leasing. We've got children, grandchildren that we'd like to see benefit from this also. I'd also like to remind you, America's founders understood clearly that private property is the foundation not only of prosperity, but of freedom itself. Thus, through the common law, state law, and the Constitution, they protect property rights, the rights of the people, such as us, to acquire, use, and dispose of property freely. It is no accident that a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to justice for all protects property rights. We're asking everyone involved to consider our property rights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Pat Parker. I live at 366 Hawthorne Street here in town. I have a question for the attorney. You stated what you don't want to see, what we wouldn't want to do for the BZA meeting. You know, don't pull up something online, yada yada. What do we do? Because I've come into this late too. I'm fairly up to date on things, but a couple friends of mine who live out and are against this brought this up to me recently, and so I just started looking into all this. So I'm looking at news interviews with homeowners and farmers and people around these areas that are having problems. But if we can't use that, I don't want to know what we can't use. What can we use? What type of research do we have to bring? Can you give us maybe an example?
Don't take this to the bank, but what I would say is it just can't be anecdotal, like I heard something from someone.
Okay.
If you can say it's been reported nationwide or in South Bend or wherever,
Okay, or cite a source.
that during construction purposes there's lots of problems. There's accidents, there's trucks driving off the road, there's horrible noise, there are nuisance lawsuits filed. So for example, if there are nuisance lawsuits ever filed against a solar enterprise, you could look at their allegations and the result of those lawsuits, if any. If there's any scientific studies about any other issues with respect to water runoff, or the transmission lines, so the depth of the transmission lines, how that might affect people. Those are all issues that need to be developed. And so again, the burden of proof is on the solar company. They have the burden of proof that this project will not be injurious to the land and the surrounding owners, including property values. So for example, the other gentleman that came up with a daughter who's a real estate agent, if a real estate agent or company said, we've done an analysis of the solar farms in the Midwest or wherever, and this is how it's affected property values, that would be evidence for the BZA to consider. Now, please understand, it's just not a negative effect on property values. It has to be a substantial negative effect, the way I read the zoning law. So those are all factors for the BZA to consider. All I'm saying, I was just trying to be helpful in that whoever remonstrates at the BZA, that again, I'm not trying to be insensitive. Don't take it that way.
Documented.
You have to have some documentation. It just can't be I heard something or there's some nebulous article online.
Okay.
I mean, if this was a peer-reviewed research article that found that there's something harmful, great. That's relevant evidence. Again, I don't represent anyone for or against this, and from the BZA, that's just my recommendation.
Okay,
Thank you.
And another thing that I want to talk about is according to an article in the March edition of the Farmers Exchange, it was said that it would take under a dozen people to run this farm once it's done. We're hearing all this talk about all these jobs, and with construction in other businesses or whatever, yes, there are jobs, people build things, and then those jobs go away. So with all this talk about all these jobs, I don't know, 2 years it'll take to build it, whatever, then there are lesser people running it, all those jobs don't stay forever. I just wanted to make that comment. And the other thing is, in the Planning Commission January notes that I read through from the meeting, there was mention of looking for grants and stuff. And my concern, obviously, when the government gets involved to give grants, there are always strings attached. I know this is just public comment, and I just wanted to make that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Spencer England. It's obvious when the government gets involved in anything, they usually hurt the ones they try to help the most. If you look at the subsidies that are attached to solar, look at the company RWE and go back in their financials all the way back to 2016. I'm not going to state anything, but it's all free information. Companies grow and companies fall, but the simple fact is the town of Culver did it, Fulton County did it, and so did Marshall County, and they inducted a 2-year moratorium. So whatever has to happen, I appreciate this gentleman. You know, he's not an elected official. That's why I'm talking to you guys. There might be rules. I know there's rules and there's legalities, but the simple fact is that solar does not stand on its own. That's the problem. If you look at the large amount of subsidies they receive, I've heard people say that oil receives subsidies. Well, oil does receive subsidies, but it's a very small amount, and the payback is huge. And I know several of you remember a few years ago you heard President Trump talking about we can only afford to do what we can afford to do, because when we invest taxpayer money, which is what we're doing, we're taking taxpayer money and we're giving it to these companies. And in allowing these processes like this, even with a solar contract, or even whether it's solar contract, but also our solar paperwork that we've already had done from 2021, we're basically allowing the federal government to spend taxpayer money, and we are in cahoots with them, knowing that the item doesn't stand alone on its own. So for me, my biggest concern is I don't want to see another plastic bag debacle. If you remember back in the 90s, people talked about getting rid of plastic bags because they were killing trees. And then all of a sudden, here we are in the late 2000s, or in the mid 2000s, and now guess what happened? The entire ocean and all these animals are being killed by plastic bags. So paper wasn't so bad. So my biggest problem with solar, and I really think the moratorium would happen, and for all those who are against solar, my suggestion is, and maybe to the commissioners, is to get yourself an attorney and file an injunction to help the moratorium come forward. Because what you've got in big government is you always have laws, and then it is true, the average person works every day. They take care of their kids, they send their kids to school, and then when these laws hit, they're like, wait, what happened? Where'd this come from? And this is exactly what's happening here. So what happened from 2021 till now was a lot. A lot of changes have happened in the country and at our local level. So my suggestion is that we step back, we put a moratorium in place the best that we can, whether it's before or after this company, but we need to really take a hard look at the facts. We may not know 20 years from now facts, but if you look at Germany and you look at the amount of money they've spent on solar and wind farms, and look at the percentage of electric that it produces, and then ask yourself why they're spending $16 billion firing up natural gas plants right now. A country that is the size of Texas, give or take a little bit. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Daniel Straka. I live at 1845 Azalea Drive in Munster, Indiana. I'm here with the Land and Liberty Coalition. We are a project of the Indiana Conservative Alliance for Energy. I want to thank the commissioners for allowing public comment. Obviously, this is a very important issue here in LaPorte County, and I've been at the last few solar meetings that you all have had and the Plan Commission has had, and I think you all are doing some wonderful work in the county, very important work. We've heard a lot about, well, a lot really, about why we're getting solar, where does this energy go. I just want to clarify a few things. That yes, the federal government does have subsidy programs for renewable energy. Those look a lot smaller than the subsidies that you have for fossil fuels. but really what it boils down to is federal and state governments, as well as utility providers and grid operators, all want to move away from fossil fuels. So this is absolutely a private property issue. This is absolutely an issue whether you're for or against solar, but it's also a national security issue. We all want to be able to turn on our lights. We all want to be able to fire up our computers, to turn on our internet, to make sure that we can get our jobs done and live our daily lives. And right now, the answer for our lives, for power in our lives, is moving to a little bit more of the renewable space for energy because of some of the regulations that you are seeing from federal and state governments, as well as, like I said, the utility providers wanting to move away from these fossil fuel factories. So I understand that it's a big issue here in LaPorte. I know that the LaPorte commissioners and the Plan Commission and all people involved here in LaPorte County are going to make the decision that is best for your county. I encourage you to also make the decision that is best for all of your residents, both participating and non-participating landowners, and make sure that, as divisive of an issue as this is, the good people of LaPorte County can continue to break bread together and enjoy their lives together and be kind to all of their neighbors. Energy affects all of us. The energy that is produced from something like this, or from the coal factory here in LaPorte County, goes everywhere. It doesn't go to specific homes. That's just how transmission works. It's whoever turns on the light first is going to get that electron. So we should all be in this together, and I do believe that we're on the right path here in LaPorte County for making an ordinance that is strong and supports the private property rights of all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for letting us have public comment today. I'm Heather Oak and I live at 3306 North 50 East. I just had a question. Were you the one that had talked about the solar ordinance last at the BZA meeting?
No.
No, okay. Okay. So was that incorrect? The information he gave then, was that incorrect, or does it?
What information are you concerned about, Ms. Oaks?
Oh, at the planning commission.
Yeah, what information?
Information about how strict of an ordinance we have to have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I may, Scott, since I was there, yes. So during the specifically in regard to the solar ready community. So LaPorte County hasn't adopted a solar ready community standard. If we had, or if we do, then we would have to follow those state standards and couldn't be more restricted to them. My understanding is Mr. BG had looked, I think, at Chapter 4, but not at Chapter 8, because one of the chapters didn't specifically reference the other. During that meeting, I made a comment that I thought he was incorrect, but obviously I didn't have all the information right there in front of me at the time. That's why we moved forward to consider tightening the ordinance, and why the attorney's still drafting it up. He has since reconciled that and looked through, and yes, so currently we can have standards that are stronger for solar than those state standards, unless we voluntarily opt in to be a solar ready community.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then and I do have empathy for the farmers that want to lease their land. I understand that they would want to give their money, to their family and use that money. But on the flip side, we have zoning laws, and I feel like, that would be the case if we didn't have any zoning laws. Then sure, you can do whatever you want with your property, but we do have zoning laws. So then we would say, let's just get rid of all zoning laws then too. We should be able to, everyone should be able to do whatever they want with their property. And that's not the case. And so people do lose property value with this stuff. Like at the planning commission, we heard the lady talk about the guy on, I think, a Snowden Road in New Carlisle, who's surrounded on 4 sides of his property. He's trying to sell it. Nobody wants it. The solar company offered 50% of his property value for his house. So we need to look at that too, because owning a home is a big investment, and a lot of times people will choose to use that equity to help them or to help their family members. So they also have that same argument that property value is important and what can be done with these solar panels. I think most people can say, actually, polling was done and 80% of the population does not want solar farms. Most people don't. Especially, it's easy to say, well, I don't care, but don't put it in my backyard. If we can say that, that's rules for thee and not for me, and that's inappropriate. If you wouldn't personally want it across the street or in your backyard, we really shouldn't be doing this for other people. And if you want to have solar farms, I would say choose the fields that have no houses around them. There are fields that do not have any houses around them. There's many of them. So I think our zoning ordinance should say that it can't affect a property owner. It can't be directly next to somebody's home. I went down, and I plan on continuing to do this. I went down my road last night and took them information to every house on that road, and about this meeting today and about the solar farms, which not a single person knew about it. And I just feel like something this controversial really should be blasted everywhere when you're starting to work on this process, because of course it's going to be a controversial topic, knowing that it's going to end up in people's backyards. And people were just distraught, and nobody was like, oh yes, I want this, in my backyard, my front yard. So I think we just need to be looking at both sides and really what the majority of the people want. So maybe we should do polling to find out.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for the solar? And the reason why I ask is because we're coming on a 1 hour period. It's we've got 9 more minutes. I just want to close up the solar request. Do we have anyone else that would like to talk about solar?
My name is Chad Beatles. I live at 3052 North 450 East in Rolling Prairie. The lady from the power company, or the solar company, mentioned the jobs coming in. They're out to make money. Everybody, most businesses that I'm aware of, are out to make money. They're not going to waste the money to train hundreds of construction workers on how to put their product together. They're going to bring their people with them. Yes, there's going to be a few local jobs created. I get that. I understand that. But it doesn't make business sense for them to waste the money to create jobs in this county to build this facility. And then also on the jobs, the 2,600 to 2,800 acres that they're acquiring, what happens to the agricultural industry that we don't see? The co-ops, the fertilizer dealers, the fertilizer applicators, the chemical applicators, the seed sales people. That 2,600 to 2,800 acres of land that's taken out of agriculture has a trickle-down effect to more than just a few people. So, she was saying all about jobs. Great, fantastic. What happens to the local jobs from the local people that work in those industries? There's 2,800 acres that are no longer in production for 25, 50 years, whatever it be. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm I'm Gene Smith, 0455 North 250 East. In regards to that, every job will be local with the local carpenters. They will not be bringing other people in. The local operators, cement finishers, iron workers, and etc. They've already talked. They will be using local union people, and it will be 200 to 300 jobs. And where they got trained already is Wheatfield. It's the same locals. They're all down there in Wheatfield building it now. The carpenters have full intention of bringing those people up to work up here. Thank you.
I'm online. Am I allowed to make a comment, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. My name is Susan Thomas. I'm the Director of Legislation and Policy for Just Transition Northwest Indiana. We work in Porter, LaPorte, and Lake counties. Just to address the jobs issue, this is a new industry, and there are groups that are training folks to go in to repair and maintain the solar panels. And these are union jobs. So this is a whole sector that is opening up for folks who can really get a good position living and working here, a living wage, maintaining the panels once they are up. So these jobs, the construction jobs, might not be permanent, but in terms of maintenance, this is a new sector that is opening up that is very dynamic and very exciting for local folks.
Thank you.
I've got one easy sentence. My name is Carrie Capel, 5977 East Division Road. My husband and I heard about a documentary that was made a couple years ago that blew our minds. And so I'm speaking for everyone, for those who are for, against, neutral, just this whole renewable energy thing that's coming in our world that we need or don't need depending on your side. This production is called Planet of the Humans. So everybody think of Planet of the Apes. That's what's going to pop when you do your search, Planet of the Humans. Right now it's on free Amazon Prime. It is an amazing documentary, gives you a history, and it was so edifying just to really hear some of the details of what this is. I think we're all struggling for information. We're not sure who to listen to, who to trust. You get different statistics, from different sources, trust but verify, all that good stuff. So Planet of the Humans, it was, I think, directed by Michael Moore. I forget who generated it. It's an amazing story of a gentleman who started in one place and went over to the other side of things. Thank you.
Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes. Is there anyone else that would like to talk about solar?
Just real quick, Darlene Hale, IT Director. I wanted to make a note that on our website, laporteco.in.gov, there is a calendar at the bottom of the screen. It does list when, like, BZA is meeting, Plan Commission meeting, County Council, County Commissioners, but the next BZA meeting is at 6 o'clock on May 21st. The next Plan Commission meeting is at 6 o'clock on May 28th. Those agendas are also posted fairly close to the meeting on our website on the left side of the screen of the main page.
Thank you. So we'll take one more comment for the solar, and then we're going to shut down the solar. Does anybody want to come up and speak on solar?
I could not hear her say what that's.
Okay, so it's LaPorteCounty.co. Wait a minute. What is it?
LaPorteCo.in.gov. LaPorteCo.in.gov.
And then on May 21st is the BZA, and on May 28th will be the Planning Commission.
Okay.
Okay, so we're shutting down the solar public comment. We ran it for 1 hour. Thank you all for coming out, and I would advise you to all go to the Planning Commission and to the BZA. Thank you. Just give us a second to clear the room.
It's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, Richard, this is Aaron at the VA Community Care. I was calling you again in regards to your dermatology consult. I had sent that to Pinnacle Dermatology.
Turn it down. We can hear it on the meeting.
Make sure you're okay with that. Do you have a direct number and you're okay with appraisal locations? Can we get you scheduled? If you're not okay with this location, you can call in. See if there's anything else I can get you. I can be reached at 260-426-5431, extension 62173. Thank you, Richard.
Sheriff, can you close that door?
We would like to resume the commissioners' meeting. Okay, we're going to resume the commissioners' meeting. Mr. Dan White, are you coming up for the Memorial Park?
Yes, I am.
Is that the only issue you're going to speak on?
That is the only issue, yes.
So I will let you know that we do have a committee working on it right now, and we will be doing a presentation, if not in 2 or 3 meetings. One of the things that I know that you had requested was you wanted us to be able to pull people from highway department and from our park district. This is, I will say this in talking to them, this is the beginning of spring. There are a lot of projects that they have already had planned, and so once the committee meets again and we are able to figure out what we can and cannot do there, we will do a presentation and we will make an announcement when we have it on the agenda. If there's anything else you'd like to talk about, you may. I'm not going to try to prohibit you from talking at public comment.
All right, thank you. My name is Dean White at 3066 North US Highway 35. I'm here to address our Vista View at Soldiers Memorial Park entrance. My hope is that my persistence will prevail with common sense and good reason, and I'm happy to hear, that you are going to bring this out to discussion. On April 22nd, I created a petition addressing your honorable commissioners and have collected signatures including but not limited to the LaPorte County Council members, the county sheriff, county recorder, nurse practitioners, certified medical assistants, pharmacists, LaPorte County Chief Deputy Auditor, a notary public official, LaPorte business people, VFW members from both LaPorte and Michigan City. Lastly, and certainly not least, concerned taxpayers and registered voters who say they enjoy seeing the lakes. And this clearing will give a beautiful view for our, but it will need to be maintained. That's the main problem that has accumulated over these years, is that it has not been maintained. And we'd just like to go ahead and give you the petition signatures. And in conclusion, I I wish to remind the commissioners that this is not a personal goal. And I find myself being frequently encouraged by those who become aware of this project. I also want the county commissioners to bring this eventually to an motion and agree to proceed as soon as possible, because the continuing growth of the footage increases the expense. And that's why I started this a couple months ago. But I'm glad that the point got across and that you are going to proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Public comment? Closing public comment. We're moving on to department head comment.
Mike Schultz, LaPorte County Assessor. Good morning. Just so everybody know that the green sheet is in the mail. This is your notice of assessment for 2025. So it'll be the value from 2024 that they'll put the rate on for the taxes in 2025. These are based on home sales in 2023 from January 1st through December 31st. The sale of a home is still up, the value, but the inventory is down. So when you hear something is down, it's the inventory of homes that are down. And you know what that means. When the inventory is down, it usually means the sale price is up because there's not as many homes to buy. So we kept the rate as low as we could so we could still get passed by the Department of Local Government Finance downstate. As you can see on there, there's numerous ways. The appeal deadline is June 17th, 2024. You can file in the Michigan Township Assessor's Office, which is located in the courthouse over there, or you can file here in the LaPorte County Assessor's Office in the old Howler Building at 555 Michigan Ave. Also, we have a QR code that you can scan. You can file using that, or you can go online and file, or you can just call, come on in, we can explain whatever. If you can't come in, we can go over the proper record card with you on the phone. And if you don't agree, then we can get you the forms you need. They're all online to file. It's free. But we don't mind explaining how we came up with these values. So look for these in the mail. I believe they went in the mail yesterday. And so you should be receiving them this week. You have until June 17th to file. And we welcome all. So thank you.
Thank you. Department heads, do we have any other departments?
Good morning, Commissioners. I just want to provide you with an update on a project that we began working on last year that I'm sure all three of you are familiar with. If you've been in the courthouses lately, you've seen that we've installed 2 brand new magnetometers and 2 brand new X-ray machines for courthouse security. Total, that's about a $100,000 investment that we invested from the Sheriff's Office in the courthouse security. And I'd like to say that those funds come through the Indiana Department of Homeland Security through a grant. So those aren't tax dollars going into that. That's grant funded. And I know some people will say, well, grant money is tax money. That is correct, but we're bringing that money back into LaPorte County. We're not seeing it go into other counties. So I just wanted to provide you. The previous machines had been in place for 25 years. It's my hope that these machines will be in place for the next 25 years, well past my lifetime. Thank you.
I'd like to thank your department and many other departments because I don't think that we really publicize and let the public know how many of our department heads really go out and get grants. It's just astonishing what a great job that everyone does. So we really appreciate it.
And for those who have sought grants, who have applied for grants, understand that that's no easy task to do that. There's a lot of steps, a lot of requirements, a lot of reporting on the back end of those as well, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone on Zoom? Thomas,
HR Director. I just want to give you guys an update on some of the things that I've been working on. On May 16th, we're having our transitional duty meeting with our workers' comp representative, Lucy Ritz. Me, myself, and a representative from Michigan Insurance will be meeting with the department heads to discuss transitional duty program that we are trying to implement for all employees with our workers' comp to try to get them back as soon as possible to work after any injuries or any illnesses that they might have. We can resume them back to work. Also, we had our meeting with Wagner, Irwin, and Sheely last month. Went pretty well. We are looking at possibly looking at some of the job descriptions and revamping those. We have till June 1st for all department heads to get those job descriptions and those job analysis to me, so that way we can go ahead and have our meeting with our personnel evaluation committee and get those approved. I think that's it until I'm up.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone on Zoom for department heads?
Nope.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. Request. We have a request. Consider emergency medical service week that would be held from May 19th through the 25th, 2024.
Good morning, Eric Fenstermaker, LaPorte County EMS. Given the fact you guys have been sitting there quite a while, I'll keep this brief. So EMS Week started in 1974 with a proclamation by President Ford that established the first EMS Week to celebrate the work of EMS professionals. Coincidentally, it was also our first year of service. So it's the 50th EMS Week in the United States and also our 50th year of service to LaPorte County. If any of you remember the old show Emergency, you had old Johnny and Roy flipping the caps. Most of these young kids out here today, Marty will remember, if Marty's still back there, we've done it. You flip the caps, that's what you do. Emergency, that television show really laid the groundwork for the public recognition of EMS, and it's just built since then. Now, what you see on TV isn't really what goes down. It's a very tireless job, a lot of nights without sleep, running nonstop. The guys and gals of our service do an amazing job, and this is the little bit of thanks we give them every year by having EMS Week. And we have a lot of activities planned with the staff, and just to kind of relax and have some fun outside of the workplace, and have a little bit of friendship and just some downtime. So you have the proclamation in front of you for your consideration.
Motion to adopt it. Got it here somewhere. Adopt the proclamation. There it is.
It's a proclamation to designate the week of May 19th to the 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you so
much. Thanks for what you do, Eric. Oh, yeah, here it is right here.
Consider permission to invite food truck vendors to both LaPorte and Michigan City Courthouse locations.
Monique Thomas again, HR Director. On June 13th and 14th, I'd like permission to invite some food vendors for our employees in the community to park their food trucks and have lunch for the employees available in our Circle Drive and our back lot, so that way employees can have access and fellowship with each other and come out and have a good time. I might need some assistance from our maintenance department with getting the Circle Drive blocked off and a couple of, some of the streets.
We can help you with that.
Okay. And also Michigan City at the courthouse as well in the parking lot.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I would second that. I look forward to it.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And this will be June 13th in LaPorte and June 14th in Michigan City.
Okay.
Thank you.
C. Consider travel request for Deputy Recorder to attend conference in Davenport, May 20th and 21st, 2024.
Yes, that's a request
to attend an annual event for my chief deputy.
Will you be attending?
No, I'm not available at that time.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the request to travel for the deputy recorder to Davenport, Iowa.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Consider permission to approach the council for funding to replace emergency standby generator. So this is something that we had a generator go out a couple of weeks ago, and we had an emergency. We had to rent one really quickly. So now we have the rental there right now, and what we have to do is we have to get it out to bid, and we have to, I believe that there's like a 8 to 9 month waiting period for these generators. So the sooner we can get it to the council, we can get this up and running, and hopefully not, and we won't have to pay for this rental of the generator the full time until we purchase ours.
Make a motion to authorize Director Campbell to approach the council for emergency funding.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Consider permission to approach the council to purchase a new lawnmower for Park District.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe I sent all of you an email on this. What we've got is it's a 10-year-old zero-turn mower that is 104 inches wide. It's a folding batwing mower. It was purchased before I got here, and honestly, it's way too big for our operation. It's something that we're putting seasonal employees on. They've been using it for years, but it's something we've had accidents with. Where they have gotten too close to ponds and too close to items, and it's just not something that is the most usable for our operation. What I've got in mind to replace it with is a 72-inch Skag mower from K Tool and Fire. We got 2 quotes, one from Skag dealer in Plymouth, one from the one here in LaPorte. The total is $15,039. I've got a donation that'll cover $7,500 of that. The FMEC, my understanding is that they would like this old mower, and they were going to give $3,000 towards that. So I'd like to ask the council for $4,539.
Make a motion to approve your request to approach council.
You just say you got 2 quotes on that?
Yeah. I asked for a third one and received no response from a dealer in Knox, I think.
We would.
This is from K Tool and Fire in LaPorte?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have consider removing old arena, replacing it with a new building at the fairgrounds. To present will be Steve Merzinski from the Ag Association.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Steve Merzinski, president of the LaPorte County Agriculture Association out at the fairgrounds. And I have Brett Kessler with me, also the treasurer. We're here to ask permission to tear down the old existing show arena that is next to the new cattle barn. To give a little background, our 4-H is growing. We have extension agents. We've gone from 700 to over 1,000 kids today. We feel that we can put up a new building there that we would pay for, the tearing down and also putting up. We feel that we could do 2 arenas to help the kids to get through the 4-H much better. And I think it would be a great, I'm also on the committee for our planning for the next 5, 10, 15-year plan for the county out at the fairgrounds. And I feel that this would fit right into where we build our other building to make it work. Do you want to talk about the building?
Yeah. So what Steve's going to hand you guys right now is kind of our proposed building at the fair that we sent spec sheet out on back in March. Building be 124 by 224 with 13-foot eaves. It would be colored the same as the new cattle barn that we built in 2019, trying to match colors out there that way. And in the off season, we once again would use that for storage like we do the other buildings. And as Steve said, the financing for this is strictly coming from the Ag Association. The one thing that the county would help out on, of course, would be the drainage and any fill needed to bring the new building to the same level as the current swine and cattle barns.
And since I serve with you on the board where we work on developing where we want the fairgrounds to go, I just want to really state that I think this is a great thing because they're funding it themselves. It's not going to have to go to the council for any kind of funding. And our department's heads do show up, and it's definitely something that we can help you with the drainage and anything else that you will need. So, does anyone have any questions?
Well, as member of the fair board, we've been talking about this for a long time. And when you look at other fairs that have similar buildings like this, it's going to be a revenue maker for sure. It's going to be a big thing. And I'm glad we're finally getting to this point. What I would want to know is if we have organizations out there or whatever that want to donate towards that, is there going to be a way to do that, like at different levels?
Yeah, we will have different levels. They can get a hold of Sarah at our office. We have a sheet made out. We've already had a couple already that have put money towards it. So yes, they can get a hold of us and we can do that.
But make a motion that we grant them permission to do what they're going to do.
And I'll second that motion to tear down the old arena and replace it.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Fun.
We have nothing on that old business. Under new business, consider opening bids for project manager to oversee phase 1 and phase 4 and phase 5 of the Franklin Street Bridge.
Thank you, Madam President. We have one envelope here. From Marcus Electric. It was received.
Mr. Bishop, you wouldn't mind using that other microphone?
It isn't on.
Was this received?
Oh, is it on?
It's on.
Oh, no, the green light.
You can't hear me though.
Weird.
Okay.
Okay.
But we have difficulty hearing you up here too. When you use the other one, we can hear you a little better.
Okay, we received a bid from Marcus Electric yesterday, April 30th. It's rather lengthy, and I just don't see one solid number here, so I don't know how the commission would like to proceed. I don't want to take up more time reading through the entire booklet, but if I could approach, I could show it.
Okay. See, the thing about this is really time sensitive, and we pushed it out all the way to May 1st. In order to make sure that that we get all the contractors that we need to finish phase 4, to start phase 4, they usually work through the summer, and so we can come up with some proposals by the end of the year to get the work done for the opening of next year's spring.
So how many bids did we receive?
We received one bid, and just so the commissioners understand, we also, Diane checked with some people at the county building to make sure no one delivered a bid at your office, and we haven't received any notification of a second bid. I will say that the fees will be any work performed in-house by Marcus. There will be no charge for Mr. Skiat's time, no clerical charge. Site supervision, field staff, direct labor to be invoiced at the following rates. Journeyman, $125 per hour, $165 per hour for overtime, and $205 for double time. a foreman, $130 per hour straight time, $175 per hour overtime, and $215 per hour for double time. General foreman, $135 per hour for straight time, $185 per hour for overtime, and $225 per hour for double time. All other subcontractors and firms required to complete the scope of work, there will be a 15% markup. With WJE, the project team member, no markup by our firm or on their services, direct pass-through in accordance with previous rehabilitation projects. So I'll approach if you'd like to take a look.
And are we satisfied that this was properly advertised? But we still only got one bid.
It was advertised.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to accept the,
You wanna look at it first? Well, why don't we take a look at the proposal to give everyone a chance to look at the bid?
We can go through that.
We're gonna have you try it to see, to make sure it works.
Okay.
So it's fine. Thank you.
Test out. That's better.
I've had a chance to look it over and satisfied everything is.
I just saw this, obviously, when I opened
we
it.
opened it today.
I just opened it, so I haven't looked it over.
Right.
I haven't looked it over, I just opened it, so I don't want to make a misrepresentation. It's a only bid we received, and this entity has experience in working on the bridge.
Yeah.
So I can't realistically anticipate any deep objection to the proposal just due to the history of the bridge maintenance, and we only received one bid.
So would it be okay, if we were to take this bid, review it, and then perhaps have a special meeting? We could schedule something for Monday, and this way it would give you an opportunity to review it legally and look at it. Or would it be okay? Would you be comfortable with us passing it today? I just don't want to rush through anything, but I also, if you feel that
We could table it to a definite period to next meeting and give all commissioners and council an opportunity to review it and ask the bidder, in this case Marcus Electric, any questions that we want. I think that might be a better practice because it's a packet and obviously we're not going to spend the whole meeting reviewing it at this point in time. So I think that might be the better practice of maybe tabling it for 2 weeks.
you want to hold the 2 weeks, or because I always know that this is kind of time sensitive. And so the sooner that we can get someone hired, the sooner that they can start getting their contractors and everything in line and figuring out what the work is. So would it be unreasonable, like instead of waiting 2 weeks, if we went to next week, Wednesday, that would still give us an opportunity to meet with council members? They could come up and they could review it. It would give you a time to review the contract itself. Would we find that acceptable?
I mean, and I apologize, I don't have an answer for you right here. I don't know, and I'm open to your suggestion as well too. Could we have a conditional acceptance upon further review? I don't know if you want to have a discussion and between the commissioners now. And
I think first I'll make a motion to show the bid was timely received. So we get that as a bid that was timely received. And then we can make whatever motion after that. But that way at least it locks in that it was timely received and it was on the record.
Let's start with that, yeah.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
So then our next motion would be to table this for a week and give everyone the opportunity, legal and council, the ability to look at this contract, and then we can come back, because once we approve it, it's still going to go to the council.
All right. I don't know how we table it for a week when we don't have a meeting in a week to do it.
What I'm saying is we'll have a special meeting.
Special meeting?
I'll make a motion to table this until our next meeting. And then that way, whether we have a special meeting in a week or we do it at the next meeting, either way, the motion allows for either a special meeting or regular meeting. I believe would be appropriate.
The problem is we're
Since we don't have anything scheduled.
wasting another 2 weeks on city contract.
That's 2 weeks time, and this is critical, as we know, from It's been years as some of us have been involved in this bridge. The parts that they need, they have to be special made, some of them from Germany, and it's a long lead time on some of this stuff. And so every day we delay is putting them in a corner, putting them in a squeeze to get the parts and stuff done. Because we have a limited time to work on that bridge from when we close it in December until we open it back up in the spring. So they have to get the parts in a timely fashion.
I suggest we move, or someone make the motion to set a special meeting for next week.
So we have a motion currently to wait 2 weeks, correct?
My motion was just until the next meeting, whether we
Okay,
call
so
a meeting in.
we have a motion to the next meeting, and then what we'll do is we'll call a special meeting unless you would like to set it right now. Would you both like to check your calendars and set it right now?
Yeah, I think we need to do that. I think time is of the essence.
Till Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever works best.
I'll amend my motion to to table it until a special meeting can be held on May 8th at 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
When is May 8th?
That's Wednesday.
So we know if this room will be available.
Oh, actually, yes, that's a good point.
Okay,
They may
so
still be counting election ballots on that day. Yeah, because that's Wednesday.
We're closed for voting.
Yeah, and May 7th we're closed for voting. They'll be probably utilizing this room.
How about Monday? Could we do it Monday?
About Monday afternoon.
Monday the 6th?
Yes.
Is that
Could we
enough time
Should
for...
notice?
I'm checking to see if this room's available.
But we can also do it across the hall
We could do the conference room, commissioners' conference room.
Sure.
and do it on Zoom.
Do it in our conference room.
Yeah, sooner the better. 48 hours notice.
We would make 48 hours notice on that as long as we put it out first thing by tomorrow morning, yeah.
Okay.
Or we do it this afternoon.
Sure.
Put
So
those
Monday
out.
afternoon. Okay.
The 6th in the afternoon.
Pardon me?
If we do it on Monday the 6th, it have to be in the afternoon.
Yes, sir. Well, someone make a motion for Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on. Consider temporary right of entry upon land agreement. So, I believe everybody got an email on that. Do you have the information for that? Yeah. So that was a right-of-way entry. Do you have the information?
Yes, I do. I've reviewed
Okay.
the document. I'm fine with it. Is Charity? She was here.
Yeah, but she had to go to
She had
another
to leave.
appointment.
Okay.
Like our typical.
It is.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's for putting in drainage. A culvert.
And the most important part of this contract, as I see it right now, is that the responsibility to us as the grantee is that it's with the understanding that the drainage pipe to be installed does not interfere with future plans to build a home on the property. At all time during the work, the grantee will use all efforts to keep the property in the same order and condition as of the effective date. We don't have dates on this right now.
This is for Diane Drive? Yes.
For Nilewood?
Yes. When you started reading, I didn't know it was the same one, but yes.
Yeah.
Diane Drive.
It's
It's not.
Nilewood.
Would sound just like the Diane Drive.
Yeah.
So you're good with it, Scott?
Yes, I'm fine with the agreement. We don't have dates filled in yet, but I'll speak to Charity about that, but I'm okay with the agreement.
Motion to approve.
Okay, and
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I think so. Mr. Sullivan, the adjoining property owners that are all, and everybody's names who are on here, they're all good with this?
I don't know about the joining property owners. I haven't talked to anybody.
Because I see a bunch of property owners' names, signature spots on here, but I just wanted to...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have any conversation with anybody there. I mean, I can do that if you'd like. I mean,
So we can have, would you amend your motion to include consideration if all members or all landowners agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, subject to the approval of the surrounding landowners. itemized on the proposed agreement.
Yeah, because we've got to.
Yeah, I assumed that had been taken care of, but I would amend my motion to that all these aforementioned landowners need to be notified
And agree.
and agree.
All right, very good. And I'll second that. Thank you.
So we have a motion, I second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Might as well stay up there.
Yeah.
Because now we have consider Bridge 104 right-of-way services agreement with United Consulting. Jay.
Yes, Jay Sullivan, County Engineer. This is it's a supplement to the original contract for professional engineering services that we had with United. And this is, it's basically a requirement by NDOT. It's a second phase of the project. We have to get a separate contract for their funding, so they can still fund 80% of it. We pay 20%. So that's
Motion to approve.
A second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much, and I'll work on getting those signatures then, or at least contact the people, see if they're familiar with what's going on. So regards to that.
So can I have a motion to adjourn?
We have actually a couple other items. Yeah.
Addition.
You're not that lucky. We're not that lucky today.
The next one here was special detail agreement.
Diane, do you have a copy of? Oh.
There you go.
Okay, so consider special detail agreement between Sheriff's Department and Ag Association during Fair Week.
Yeah, we'll do this every year. I'll make a motion to approve.
And second, you reviewed it?
I haven't. I spoke with Sheriff Heeg. It's the same agreement we had last year, so
Looks like it.
it's standard, cookie cutter.
All right, I'll second that, and thank you, Sheriff, and your deputies for all you guys do out there to keep our fair very well disciplined, and it always goes off well every year. So stay safe out there, and thank you.
Elephant ears and cotton candy. And
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Consider favorable recommendation from rezone from B2 to an R1B in Kankakee Township. Mr. Novak will be presenting it.
Thank you. Anthony Novak, attorney with Newby, Lewis, Kaminsky & Jones in LaPorte. I was in front of the Plan Commission last week. This is a property out in Whisper Isle subdivision. It was going to be phase 2 of that subdivision that never materialized. The property, for whatever reason, was zoned B2. Tony Hendricks at the meeting last week indicated it should have been R1B all along. The property owner just wants to build a house there. He's okay with it being R1B, and through the recommendations of Mitch Bishop and Mike Poland, is asking that it be rezoned R1B. So there's an ordinance before you tonight on the unanimous favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission, and if possible, I'd ask that both readings be held today so that he can move forward with construction. Thank you.
make a motion, we change the rules and do both readings today by title only.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Move to the first reading.
Motion to approve on the first reading.
Motion to approve on the first reading this resolution by title only.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll move on to second reading.
Motion to approve on second reading.
Motion second, approve on second reading by title only.
So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have consider final approval for one lot, phase 1, US 421 and 300 North.
Excuse me,
Northwest-
Madam Commissioner, I'm so sorry. We had the motion to approve by title only, but we never read the title.
Oh.
So let's just read the title so we can have that in the record, so I don't get hate mail down the road from anyone.
That's why we have you here.
The title only for that is Resolution of the Board of Commissioners of LaPorte County, Indiana, approving an order of LaPorte County Plan Commission approving a resolution of the LaPorte County. I'm sorry, that is I read these two out of Order. Apologies.
Here we go. The proper one for that ordinance was amending the zoning map of LaPorte County, Indiana to rezone certain property located in Kankakee Township from B2 to R1B. Thank you.
So that's sufficient? Yes. Okay, moving on. Consider final approval for Lot 1, Phase 1, US 421 and 300 North Northwest subdivision. Battenmere Goots? Gans, okay.
22 East Atwater, Beverly Shores. Yeah, I was reaching out so we could get approval for this Lot 1, this is the property that's just north of Love's off of 300 North and 421. So, as you know, it's been a long process on that property, over 10 years. And this is one last hurdle, is to sort out get the secondary plat approved. And then my next battle is to finalize some open issues with IDEM based on what A&R Pipeline did to the property when they upgraded the pipeline. And so we're getting close to sorting that out. And ultimately, we still owe LaPorte County $75,000 that we agreed to, which we're trying to encompass that all in one loan. And we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this project. And so this is one part of it, to get the secondary plat approved, and then phase 2 is finish everything up with IDEM, and then we can sort out our final loan and come in for permitting to develop the north half of the property. So we're almost there.
Are you the landowner?
Yes.
Have you gone through the plan commission?
Yep, we did.
RDC.
Okay,
Yeah, we talked about an RDC a lot.
okay. So you're comfortable? All right.
Two readings on this, Scott? This resolution?
This is different, this is what we're going to.
Can you come up and help?
That's this. It's this right here, yep.
That's what we looked at this.
I've got some larger ones. You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
What has been common practice?
My first time, so would you like to come up and explain it real quick to us?
When a petitioner comes in, they have the plat subdivision, so what he's requesting is so that they have another buildable lot in that area. The use of what is proposed is allowable in that area. So from a development standpoint, no opposition from the RDC. It's been in concert with what we're trying to get accomplished at that location.
Okay.
So.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution, which doesn't have a number yet.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think we're done.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
No, there's
What else?
number E here.
Consider resolution approving creation of additional allocation for the I-94 US 421 area. I had it checked off already. It's been a long day.
Yes, it's been a long morning. Thank you, Madam President. This is the redevelopment amendment to the north side of the 421 plan area. Mr. Gans's project's on the south side. This is on the north side. It's about 29 acre project, 33 acre project, $29 million. Part of the funds generated here by the creation of an allocation area will be used for further infrastructure to continue to develop further to the east at the interchange. This is part of the process. From here, it'll go back to the EDC, and then it will go to the council if they, as we continue to work with the developer on the bond issues. So this is part of the process.
Follow the process and make a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion to, or a second to approve the resolution by title only.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none.
We'd like to read the title.
Who has the title?
I do.
Go ahead.
Do you have it? I do. A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of LaPorte County, Indiana, approving an order of the LaPorte County Plan Commission, approving a resolution of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission, approving amendments to the declaratory resolution and the Economic Development Area Plan for the I-90/US 421 Economic Development Area for the purposes of establishment of a new allocation area and related matters.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now.
Now motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.